Today I'd like to talk to you about selecting a spot in your yard to mount a satellite dish. A lot of people think that you need a totally unobstructed view of the southern sky. And when people hear that, they often think, well, you have to have a completely bare field to aim your satellite dish through. That's not necessarily true. You can see my yard here. I've got lots of tall trees in my area. And looking right about here, this would be kind of the zone where I'd have to point for 91 west. Over this way, 97 west, and over here, the western satellites like 125 or 127 west. And even with all of these trees, I'm still able to receive all of these satellites. If you've ever watched my channel, you can see that I've scanned all these satellites in successfully. So you don't necessarily have to have a completely bare view of the southern sky. And here I am standing behind one of my C-band dishes, and you can see the L&B there. It's pointing up into the sky, and it's passing right over the top of that tree in the center of the shot here. So that's another thing to consider, is you'd have to have really tall trees in order to start having your satellite signals really interrupted. So even if you have trees, they might not necessarily bother to signal at all. And here's a look from behind my other C-band dish, and you can see that even though there are some tall trees, the L&B is pointed up well over the top of these trees. So it would be probably quite a few years before these trees started to interfere with these satellite signals. And sometimes a signal can be captured with a dish mounted very low to the ground, like this one I have fixed to a pallet on the grass, and it's still able to capture signal even through an opening like this. And sometimes dishes have to be mounted a little higher, like these ones up here on this wall, and that is just enough height to clear these trees over here. Another option is to mount your satellite dish on a roof if that helps you to clear trees or other obstructions. A couple of things to keep in mind there though is that it may be a little awkward getting up on the roof to adjust the dish if it goes out of alignment, and also if you live in an area that has a lot of snow, you'll have to get up there and clear the snow off or you'll lose your signal, and that might be a little cumbersome in the wintertime. Personally, I'm not a fan of putting satellite dishes on a roof because I don't like the idea of putting extra holes in the roof of my house, and also I don't like heights. So here I am standing on the north side of my yard, and now if I tilt my camera here, you'll notice that it sort of replicates the elevation of a satellite dish. And once the satellite dish is pointed at the correct elevation, you can see that there's plenty of clear sky there to capture satellite signals. Now if I move in and have my dish mounted too close to the south side of my yard, suddenly the trees become obstructions though. So that's another tip I'd say, is mount your dishes on the north side of your yard to give your dishes the longest possible shot into the southern sky. Looking around my yard here, you can see I've got some openings either between the trees or even over top of the trees. Some dishes might be aimed. Over here we've got a nice spot here that I'm still able to easily pull in the western satellites. And even over here towards the east, there's still open space in the sky there. So you don't necessarily have to have all the trees chopped down in your area to be able to pick up a satellite signal. Don't let tall trees discourage you. Even if you had really tall trees, it's possible that you could maybe aim a dish that it's capturing a signal between two trees. I'll show you something like that now. Here's a satellite right here that I have mounted on the corner of my deck, and it's actually behind a basketball backboard. but I'm able to pick up 2 satellites with it between this pine tree and this lilac bush, and I can get 95 and 99 west even through this narrow opening here. So as I said, don't be discouraged if you have trees all around your yard, or you have tried mounting a dish somewhere and have had no luck pulling in a signal. Don't be afraid to try different places in your yard. Look around, and if you really want to pull in some free satellite TV signals, then don't be afraid to get a little bit creative with your mounting options as well.